All right, folks, we're back into the action here. Have to get some things straightened up on the technical side, but we're back live. We're back live. Hottest show on the streets, talking Bama. In my own words, yours truly, Stephen Smith of TDA. We're gonna go to the phone lines. We're gonna continue with your calls right here, right now. We're gonna take this call right here. You are live on the show. What's happening? How we feeling? State your name and where you calling from. Doing great, Daniel. Doing fantastic on a Monday. I know the game over the weekend, not what Bama Nation wanted to see or be a part of, but how are you? I agree with that. I agree with that. Yeah, so they got a pick six off of Milrow. That they got that, but offensively, truthfully, they only scored about 10 points. Everything else that they scored, Alabama put them in a great field position to do that with turnovers. I mean, for me, Daniel, it's just wild how you had Jermaine Tommy Reese last, and I understand Tommy Reese had his moments where you weren't executing at times also offensively, but at the same time, at least with Tommy Reese, he had more moments to where he kind of knew what he was doing versus Nick Sheridan. I don't think he has any idea of what he's doing.
horrendously bad call against you after a touchdown, but I digress. But I I believe that he's going to do fine. I'm still not going to dog Womack. I mean, again, your first year here, but if I hope that he did not bring Sheridan back. I mean, this is this is unforgivable, man. I mean, you had everything right in front of you. You have all you got to do is just do some passing, and even then, just a sidebar. I am you've heard me talk about it before. You know I love Jay. Why are we just at points that which say the second pick? We're not just going to try somebody else, whether it's Ty, Austin, Mack, or Lonergan. I don't get it. I mean, Saban did that with Tua. Now I know it's a different type of quarterback altogether in a national championship. When you're down that far, is it not worth taking that risk?
It is worth taking that risk. I mean, when you have a quarterback that's not playing confidently, when you have a quarterback that's struggling, you've got to take that risk. You've got to, at some point, get somebody out there that can bring juice to the team, especially juice to the offense. And we saw this with Coach Saban. We saw it in the national championship game against Georgia, where Jalen Hurts was not getting going against Georgia. Everybody saw it. Coach Saban has the whole coaching staff in the locker room, and he tells the guys, "We know the decision we have to make now. We know the decision we have to make. We got to make that decision now." So, in doing so, they go to Tua second half, and we saw the outstanding thing that it was. Tua went out there showing you that he was the right guy needed to bring the offensive spark, bring the offense juice, bring the offense rhythm, but most importantly, win a championship game. So it comes to a point where King and DeBoer, you got to make an example, right? You got to make an example and show this is your team, your culture, your locker room. And if that example is, we got to get a quarterback in here that can give us what we need, which is an accurate downfield, read the defense, passer, distributor of the football. Then that's what you got to do.
Right. I mean, I don't disagree with anything you said. I mean, I don't think I don't think it would hurt anything to put him in for not even a drive, two drives. Just see what happens. I mean, you can't do much. You can't do much freaking worse than what we were doing. So,
Right.
but
Yeah.
like I said, I think everything's gonna be fine. But uh, I'm the only person I'm not sold on is Sheridan. But if we can get that thing going, cool. We'll see whatever the chips are gonna fall wherever they're gonna fall the rest of the year. So, and I'll leave it there. But Stephen, I hope you have a great night. Thank you.
Appreciate my guy Daniel from Phoenix City calling into the show. We're going to go to the next caller, but first, we got some super chats to roll in. So, first off, here in the super chats, we got my man JD Long dropping that fire 99 donations right there. Appreciate that for JD Long. And then we go to my man Big Bill. Bill from New York with that $6 donation, dropping that into the show right there. He says we need Milrow to declare for the NFL draft. So there's the thoughts there from Bill from New York there. So what we're going to do right now, and we greatly apologize here, fans, on behalf of TDA. We greatly apologize. There's been an issue here with the audio when it comes down to the call segments. We're gonna try to get this settled, get this fixed for another time so that we can have the calls, all the way through. So what we're gonna do right now, we're gonna go to the chat line. We're still gonna take the chats. We're still gonna take the chats right here. So get all of your chats, get all of your questions in, and we're gonna read all questions in the chat line. Once again, my apologies on the issues here in trying to get the audio and get the calls situated here, but we will figure this out for the future. We will figure this out to have you guys calling in and us taking your calls right here from the home location. But we got Tovert saying OG. What's up, Stephen Rowe, Todd, Bama Nation, Tovert saying OG. Appreciate you for being a part here of the show. We go now to Hank P. Hank P. Bench Milroe. We want Lonergan. So Hank P. already giving you what he wants. Benching Milroe. We want Dylan Lonergan. Rick Stockberger writes in, it had no pulse last game. He's referring to the Alabama Crimson Tide having no pulse here in the most recent game. Well, it's got to have the pulse this weekend when you talk about playing Auburn in the Iron Bowl. There's one thing there's one thing that Hugh Freeze wants. Hugh Freeze wants to be able to beat Alabama on Saban Field. What's going through his mind is taking recruits from Alabama, right? Getting himself into a bowl game, getting his Auburn team into a bowl game, but then most importantly, taking out Alabama on Saban Field. Bama, these coaches, but most importantly, these players, especially the players that are from the state of Alabama, they've got to have big time energy this week. The players that are from the state, the Malachi Moores, the Tim Keenans, those guys, the Kobe Prentices, the Ryan Williams, all the kids from this state, the Rock Montgomerys, all of the guys from the state of Alabama, this is your week. You have got to take ownership of this game in a huge way. Even down to Deontay Lawson. I know D-Law's hurt. I know Q-Rob is hurt. But both of those two are from this state. Even those two. Even in the locker room, on the field, in practice. Like, this game means everything right now. Especially with all the cash money talk Auburn spewing. You cannot allow Auburn to get bowl eligibility on your watch. Can't allow Auburn to do that. Let's see. Darren Watson writes in, Bama will smoke Auburn this weekend. Appreciate Darren writing in on the show. We got Jordan Bradley. Y'all act like Milroe doesn't have green dot on the back of his helmet. Listen to Nick Sheridan. Look, Milroe has a green dot on the back of his helmet. Milroe is listening to Nick Sheridan as the offensive coordinator, but Milroe is also struggling. I don't know what's been the cause of his struggles. I can't pinpoint down what's the number one cause of his struggles. We all know he's not comfortable as a passer. And this is through a season, and now another season at that, with being this season. We all know he's not comfortable as a passer, and I don't know when he'll get comfortable in the passing game. I truly don't know. I mean, we know what he is as an athlete, but if you take away his athleticism, you take away his feet, you take away his mobility, what do you have, right? The guy's a phenomenal young man, phenomenal character, outstanding human being. Love the human being, the character, the young man of Jalen Milroe, absolutely. But as a quarterback, the one area that Alabama needs at the quarterback position right now, being an accurate, sound distributor with the football, you're not getting that from Milroe. And that's the one thing that you need. I don't know what has happened to strip his confidence, but something's got to give. Either you got to get in a quarterback that gives you a spark moving forward and into the future of the DeBoer era. You got to do something here. Don Parker writes in, for all who just don't get it, you don't understand, Bama loses to the barn, DeBoer's seat will be flaming hot. Don Parker's correct. Alabama loses to Auburn on Saban Field, you're going to have a lot of upset, folks, going into the offseason. Bama loses to Auburn in Tuscaloosa. It is going to be a lot of upset people going into the offseason. Now, DeBoer handles Auburn. Alabama handles Auburn on Saban Field. You would have more people say, okay, you know, it sucks you don't compete for an SEC title. It sucks you don't get into the college football playoff. But at the very least, right, you beat Georgia, you beat LSU, you beat Auburn, you finished the year 9-3, the regular season. You should get, you know, the best bowl that the college football playoff doesn't have. And if you win that bowl game, you go into the offseason at 10-3. And you can at least get yourself ready for the future when you look at the Kagan DeBoer era. You beat Auburn. Alabama Nation looks at this a bit more optimistic. But if you do not beat Auburn, Bama Nation goes to this offseason ticked off. I mean, Don Parker's correct about that. G_smooth writes in, if Milroe can't be effective on the ground, our offense can't be effective, period. Milroe, a lot of this goes through Milroe's legs. But here's my thing. If Milroe is not effective throwing the football, then all you're going to do is stack 8 to 9 guys in the box and stop Jam, Justice, and Richard Young anyway, and Milroe himself anyway. Like, Milroe has to prove, look, I can be an effective passer, and he hasn't shown it. He hasn't shown he can be an effective passer. I mean, even this year, the deep ball hasn't been there. It was there early on in the season. It's not there now. I mean, we knew coming in the issue was short to intermediate routes with him. But now the deep ball, the thing he was prominent, great with in 2023, even that's dried up some. So you look at you gotta have a quarterback that can stretch the field vertically to these playmakers. Now, a lot of it also starts with having an offensive line that can pass protect, for crying out loud. And that's why you're seeing the struggles of Elijah Pritchett and Caden Proctor. You got to be able to pass protect. But yeah, for Alabama, you've got to be able to throw the football. You got to be able to pass the football. Jordan Bailey. Ty Simpson doesn't have a strong arm like Tua, though. Ty has a noodle arm. Just look at that pass he threw to Richard Young. I wouldn't say Ty has a noodle arm. I wouldn't say that. Guys like Tua and Bryce were passing prodigies, right? Not every quarterback you get is going to be a passing prodigy. Mac Jones wasn't a passing prodigy, but you won a national championship with him. Jacob Coker wasn't a passing prodigy, but you won a national championship with him. G-Mac and A.J. McCarron weren't passing prodigies, but you won national championships with them. They may didn't have the arm talent of a Tua or a Bryce, but they knew how to get the ball there. Ty Simpson knows how to get the ball there. I mean, I go back to the pass he made where he avoided a sack against Mercer, scrambled to his right, fired the ball up in the air 43 yards to Josh Cuevas, a tight end, and gave him a chance to make a play. So Ty can get it there. He can get it there. Let's see here. Ryan Gunn, play a quarterback with a broke throwing arm and for once actually make a concerted effort to run the ball with the let's see what you're saying there, with the running backs we have. Look, you got to run the football with the running backs Alabama does have, absolutely. but you also have to throw the football. You also have to be able to throw the football to enhance your running game even more. You self, Elchris writes in, Jordan, did you see the deep ball against Mercer? That's what I'm saying. Ty can get it there. Ty, the deep ball against Mercer. He avoided a sack. It looked like Eli Manning to David Tyree from the Super Bowl between the Giants and the Patriots. That's the type of play we saw Ty Simpson make. Kangaroo Black writes in, and I love Kangaroo Black. Shouts out to Kangaroo Black. The decision is to get rid of Nick Sheridan and Kane Womack. That's the only decision and example I want to be made. Kangaroo Black, hey, strong with that. Hey, Nick Sheridan, I wholeheartedly agree. Kane Womack, I feel like you can work with Kane. I think the only issue with Kane is just stopping the run. The defense is getting takeaways. They do get pressure. It's just stopping the run that's the issue. I feel like you can work with Kane, but let Sheridan go. You can work with Kane, but let Sheridan go. That'll be my thoughts to Kangaroo Black. But appreciate you having your statement here on the show. Let's go. Mustafa YN. I just committed to Alabama. Roll Tide. Okay, Mustafa. All right. Coach Juan writes in 100%. 100% appreciate Coach Juan being in here. JD Long. I just think it's Milroe's fault when the wide receivers can't get, when the wide receivers can't get other than Ryan Williams and how about all the drop catches from our tight ends. So I look at this. What I'm trying to understand, JD Long, is why does Nick Sheridan run that two tight end, two wide receiver formation much of the time? And that two tight end, two wide receiver formation, the main two wide receivers on the field are Jeremy Bernard and Ryan Williams, right? We haven't seen enough of Kendrick Law at all. We haven't seen enough of Kobe Prentice at all. And Kobe Prentice entering the season was the most experienced receiver on the roster, but now he's relegated to a third, fourth stringer almost. We haven't seen much of Prentice. We haven't seen much of Law. We haven't seen much of Emmanuel Henderson. We haven't seen Jaron Hamilton. We haven't seen Caleb Odom. Did he get a pass thrown his way? Bubba Hampton, Rico Scott. Amari Jefferson. I mean, Bama's got receivers. Bama's got receivers, people. They got receivers. It's just you need to feature more of those guys on the field. Hank P writes in, DeBoer has an 8-year contract with a $75 million buyout. Let him get rid of Sheridan and Womack and replace with SEC quality coaches. There's a thought there from Hank P. So for all of you wondering, Hank P just dropped it. For all of you wondering, what's the King and DeBoer buyout? It's right there. 8 years, a $75 million buyout. It's a lot of money. Let him do what he need to do with Sheridan and Womack moving forward. But DeBoer ain't going nowhere. That money, that buyout, DeBoer ain't going nowhere. Mitch giving us a roll title. Appreciate you, Mitch, being a part of the show. Let's see here. From writing in, beat Auburn. Appreciate from Monica Petaway. Milroe has reached his ceiling. Yeah. I would agree with that. Patricia Purdue, why aren't they playing the players? It seems to me they are trying to make the players leave. There's so many players, Patricia, that I'm looking at this roster and I'm like, why isn't this guy playing more? Why isn't that guy playing more? Why aren't these guys getting the opportunities that they should get? There are several players that I'm looking at right now on this team, and I'm asking myself, why isn't that guy getting in? Like, that guy needs to get in. Defensively, At the linebacker position, I'm like, why isn't Justin Okonrokwo playing more? Why isn't Jeremiah Alexander playing more? Defensively, I'm thinking about that right now. Just being honest. I'm thinking about that right now. Offensively, why isn't Caleb Odom getting more targets? Why isn't Kobe Prentice getting more targets? Why aren't we seeing Kendrick Law more? I'm just thinking that right now. Just having these conversations with myself right now. When you look at this team, there are guys that should be out there. There are guys that should be playing. There are guys that are showstoppers, and they're not getting that just due opportunity. I don't get it. I 100% do not get it. Let's see, Ryan Gunn. Milroe will be the Anthony Richardson of this year's draft. Ryan, that's not an off statement. Remember, Anthony Richardson, people saw him at the combine. They were like, whoa, big kid, big arm, big size, big ability. He's a project, but we can take him and make some work with him. And the Indianapolis Colts took him high. First round in the draft. There is going to be a team that's going to look at Jalen Milroe, 6'2", 225, size, athleticism, big opportunity. Hey, get him into our system. Maybe we can make something great with him. Karen Hale writes in, Milroe would make a great running back. Karen, a lot of Bama fans have had that same thought as you. Milroe would make a great running back. And now some of us are reflecting back on that statement Bill O'Brien made when OB said you shouldn't be a quarterback, Milroe, you should play another position. Now a lot of us are looking at that statement from Bill O'Brien going, maybe O'Brien was not wrong. Maybe O'Brien knew what he was talking about. Now, once again, I will still not fully, truly embrace O'Brien by the way he just, you wasted Bryce Young. He didn't win a national championship in Tuscaloosa. And Jahmyr Gibbs should have gotten the ball as a running back way more than what he did. So you still can't give O'Brien a pass after with that happening. But you wonder, after the comment he made about Milroe, was he wrong? Was he truly wrong when he made that comment there? It's just interesting. Let's see. Appreciate you guys calling into the show, not calling into the show, but texting into the show right now. Once again, go back to the call issues earlier. We will have that situation straightened out. So the next time that we do calls from the home location, we will have the audio correct. We will have everything in order for you to call in. Let's see. Coach Warren writes in, Lawson getting hurt. The signal calling was to change in the game early. No creativity in the offense. Quit running Milroe so much. Use the strength as far as the running backs. Wide receivers, they are good. And use the strength. Wide receivers, they are good. And the strength of the running backs. So Coach Warren is saying, hey, Lawson getting hurt. That stunk. Which it did. He's out for the season with a leg injury. There was no creativity in the offense whatsoever. There was not. You're overly running Milroe, which that's not good. And you utilize all of the receivers and you utilize all your running backs, man. I agree with that, Coach Warren. I 100% agree with that there. Lawson is out for the season. Godfather of the SEC weighing with a leg injury. Coach Warren, let Kane take the Southern Miss job. He does not know how to make adjustments on the fly or in game situations. So Coach Warren is in favor of let Kane Womack take the Southern Miss job as a head coach. Well, there you go. Let's see. Crimson Tide. DeBoer isn't benching Milroe with one game left, except that. There's Crimson Tide with a thought right there. Don Parker dropping that $10 donation, helping us out right here. Don Parker, I will repeat what I just said because some of you don't understand because all you know is Saban. If Bama loses to Auburn Saturday, DeBoer's seat will be flaming hot. Don't believe me? Watch that $10 donation coming from Don Parker. This is Iron Bowl rivalry, y'all. It's big. It's big. Auburn is coming to Tuscaloosa wanting to get a bowl game on Alabama's watch. In Hugh Freeze's mind, it's I beat Nick Saban twice when I was at Ole Miss. It didn't matter that I cheated to do it, but I beat Nick Saban twice when I was at Ole Miss. Should have beaten him last year, if not for 4th and 31. Better known as Gravedigger. But you tell me I got a shot to become bowl eligible, spoil everything else in terms of Bama season, and snatch recruits at the same time? Say less. Hugh Freeze is going to have the Tigers jacked up, excited, hungry coming into Saban Field. For Alabama, does it match that energy? Auburn's already talking. Bama, you don't need to talk. Match that energy with your play on the field. JD Long writes in, I'm riding with Milroe. I believe in Milroe. There's JD Long. Danny Jackson. Will Keelan start next year? Hearing big names are going to enter the portal. I'll say this, Danny. It depends. I say this, Donnie. It depends on who comes out on top of this quarterback conversation in the upcoming spring, right? You look at if Simpson and Lonergan don't come out on top of this thing, one of those two, if not both, will transfer. So you got to keep your eyes on Simpson and Lonergan. If one of those two doesn't come out on top of his quarterback conversation for next spring, one of those two, if not both, is going to transfer. Keelan Russell, I want to see how he looks in the spring, especially if he comes in as an early enrollee. He comes in as an early enrollee and he sets the world on fire in the spring. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be real interesting. Let's see. Coach Warren writes in, McElwain retired before he got fired. He needed to come back home to Bama, change the coordinators, McElwain and Pruitt, and bring Scott Kyle. Coach Warren got a whole game plan, y'all. Coach Warren saying, hey, get the band back together now. Coach McElwain just retired. Bring Coach Mack back. You know, he going to run the football. He going to do what we need him to do. Bring back Jeremy Pruitt with him. And then call Scott Cochran for all the motivation. Coach Warren has the game plan, y'all. He's got it. He's got the whole game plan going. Deborah Franklin is in here. We got Deborah Franklin, Roll Tide, everyone. Appreciate you, Deborah, being a part here of the show. Everybody in here calling in. GT18, Roll Tide, Steven, and TDA. Appreciate that. Appreciate that. Let's see. Jordan Bailey, that was my mistake. I was listening to Steven and typing too fast. Hey, Jordan, it's okay. It's all right, man. Hey, I make that mistake also. You know, I try to listen and I type too fast, and I'm wondering why in the world did I type that? So I understand that. I understand. Monica Penaway writes in, Quay Russo and James Smith too. Those two are some dogs, Monica. Those two need to be on the field at the same time. Quay and James need to be on the field at the same time on defense. That's all I got to say. Put them two Montgomery killers, put them two boys from Carver on the field at the same time and let them boys go at it. Let them boys go hunt, man. Put them two on the field at the same time and let them boys go eat. That's all I got to say. Period. That's all I got to say. Let's see here. Mustafa like, calm down. Look, man, I'm giving y'all the passion here when it comes down to Bama. Mustafa, I'm giving y'all the passion, man. when it comes down to Bama football. This is just what I do. This is what I do, man. This is what I do. And I'm engaging you, the Bama Nation, in conversation. So, hey, am I always right with what I'm saying? Not always. But I like to engage you, the Alabama fan, in conversation. And this is what makes this show exciting. Deborah Franklin, where does Bama go from here? Well, Deborah, the Iron Bowl is Saturday. They got to win this game. Right? They got to win this game. They got to win this game in statement fashion. That's number one. Number two, if they get some chaos to happen, maybe Alabama backdoors its way into the playoff. If it doesn't get chaos to happen, Alabama, prepare for your bowl game. Go out there, dominate the bowl game, and get yourself set for next spring and next season. That's where Bama goes to from here. Absolutely. Matt Steele writes in, yes, sir. 251. No sin. So, Matt, appreciate Matt helping us out here on the show. Let's see here. From writes in, I'm going to ride this roller coaster season. Hey, From, you got the Iron Bowl Saturday, bro. Got the Iron Bowl Saturday. Bama's got to be on its A game. Crimson Tide. 1 week, Milroe is a hero. The next week, he's trash. I'll say this. I'm not saying that Milroe's trash. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is what Alabama needs is a pure passer of the football. That's not his game, and that's okay. Find the quarterback where that is his game, because that's what Alabama needs right now. Saying that being a pure passer is not your game, is not calling you trash, that's just identifying the truth. And the truth is, hey, he's an athlete. He's not a pure passer. He's not an accurate passer in all levels of the field. That's not him. And that's okay. That's calling a spade a spade. That's what it is. That's calling a spade a spade. That's what it is. We've seen Milroe now. This is his second season, and he has not shown, hey, I'm a pure, consistent, accurate distributor of the football. We haven't seen it. We haven't seen it on a consistent basis, and that's okay. He's an athlete. He can run, which that he can do, and you can win a few games with that. But when opposition takes that away and forces you to do something that you are uncomfortable with and you are not able to do it, you got to call it what it is. You got to call it what it is. Godfather of the SEC writes in, DeBoer isn't going nowhere. I am sorry, he's not. That buyout of $75 million, shoo, that man ain't going nowhere. That man is not going nowhere. Jordan Bradley, I'm tired of the Milroe project, but I wish him much success. You definitely want much success from Milroe. It's, like I said, great kid. Great young man. Love the young man. Love the person. I really do. Not speaking anything against him, the person. But him, the quarterback, in terms of what is a quarterback's main job, it's being accurate distributing the football in all layers and levels of the field. And when you're not doing that consistently, it's a problem. It's a problem. Let's see here. My man Don Parker writes in, Waylon, Bama loses to Auburn. They're going to run DeBoer out of Tuscaloosa or make it so uncomfortable that he will not stay. Hey, there's Don with his thoughts right here. Kangaroo Black, Kane Womack and his garbage play calling can kick rocks. Kangaroo Black on Kane Womack as the defensive coordinator. Craig Wooden, this head coach and staff make no adjustments, which makes me think they are incompetent. Craig Wooden is in here bringing in the heat. Woo! Let's see. We got Roll Tide and Rise Up Steven. It's too late for him to get comfortable. If he doesn't have it by now, he just doesn't have it. That's what I'm saying. If you're not the passer you need to be by now, It's time to look at another person, another guy on that roster to be the passer that you need. To be honest, this year's team didn't need an explosive quarterback. This year's team, truly, you give the ball to these backs, this year's team needed somebody that could manage the game. This year's team needed somebody that could just manage the game. Didn't need anybody uberly explosive. Just somebody that could stretch the field, make the right call, the right decision, communicate effectively, and stretch opponents out vertically. Stretch opponents out vertically. That's what you needed this season from your quarterback. Tolver said, "Oh, gee, yes, sir, Steven, give them nothing, but take from them everything." And Bama Nation, stop sleeping on Ty Simpson. I'm saying, man. I'm saying. You need to get Ty some reps in this Iron Bowl. Because I just feel like after this season, Jalen's going to head to the NFL. You need to go ahead and get Ty some reps. Get him ready. Get him ready. Get him ready. The same way that Mac Jones in 2019 got a lot of reps, especially when Tua went down. And those reps prepared Mac Jones to be wire to wire, leading this team to a national championship, of this program to a national championship in 2020. You got to get Ty some reps in this Iron Bowl. You're gonna definitely have to look at that direction. Let's see. Crimson Tide writes in, Bama fans, you'll get your wish after one or two more games. No more Milroe. Hey, you got a lot of NFL draft pundits, Crimson Tide, a lot of draft pundits that have Milroe as number 2 or the number 3 quarterback on their board. I haven't got him at number 2 at number 3 on their board. So Milroe, he's got a chance to hit pro. And I hope that, hey, somebody looks at him, takes him, want him to thrive in the NFL. I really want him to. Let's see. J-Dub writes in, Steven, good evening, roll tide to you, J-Dub. Dale B writes in, I think Milroe thought this game was easy. Look, no game was easy in the SEC, Dale. None. But your job as a team is not to give the opposition more confidence, right? Alabama gave Oklahoma confidence with turnovers by letting Oklahoma stick around, by letting the Sooners hang around, by letting the Sooners feel like they can run with Alabama. When the Tide did that, that's where the team messed up. Let's see, Ryan Gunn saying Don Parker is correct. Monica Petaway saying facts to Dunn. This is about if you lose to Auburn, it would be uncomfortable in Tuscaloosa for Kang and DeBoer. And it would be. You lose to Auburn, it would be very uncomfortable for Coach DeBoer. Hank P., Auburn will storm our... Look, you may have to prevent the Auburn fans, from storming the field if Auburn was to pull this out. You would have to prevent the Auburn fans from storming the field. Just saying. Let's see, William Moore, Steven, wouldn't it cost at least $7 million or so to get rid of DeBoer? Yeah, $75 million. It would cost $75 million to buy out DeBoer's contract. It would be $75 million. Let's see, Jordan Bradley writes in, Bill O'Brien stripped Milroe's confidence a long time ago, and the irony is Bill O'Brien is mediocre himself. Man, look. Oh, OB said some stuff, man. OB said some stuff. David writes in Citrus Bowl. So David writes in, Bama head to the Citrus Bowl. Don Parker, some of you don't remember Ray Perkins. He went 10-2, lost to Vandy and Auburn, and got ran out of T-Town. You don't believe me? Watch. Ray Perkins did get ran out. I remember that. Ray Perkins lost to Vandy, lost to Auburn, and Ray Perkins, yeah. Did get ran out of there. So Don Parker is correct about that. He is correct about that. Let's see. Crimson Tide. What if Bama stomps Auburn and sneaks in the playoff at number 12, then runs the table to the Natty? The Miro will be a hero again. I'm going to say this, Crimson Tide. Alabama could very well stomp Auburn. And Alabama could very well sneak into the playoff. But Alabama running that table, because you think, Bama would have to go on the road. Bama would have to travel on the road. Bama on the road, with the exception of the LSU game and the Wisconsin game, have not been great on the road this season. They have not. Lost to Vandy, lost to Tennessee, lost to Oklahoma. Not been great on the road. So if Alabama backdoors its way in the playoff, you got to understand they have to go on the road. They're going to have to travel. And right now, I just do not have the confidence in this group traveling on the road right now. I don't. Because the team that showed up against Wisconsin and against LSU did not show up against Vanderbilt, Tennessee, and definitely not against Oklahoma. So right now, if Alabama was to beat Auburn and sneak into the college football playoff at number 12, they're going to have to go on the road first. Do they win on the road first? That's going to be the thing. That's going to be the issue. Let's see. Rock Righteous Ministry writes in, put Austin Mack in like Ohio State did their third quarterback in that 2014 game. Dude punished Bama's offense. Or did punish Bama's defense that you meant by that, Rock Righteous? I think Rock Righteous is referring to that college football playoff semifinal 2014 between Bama and Ohio State when their third-string quarterback, Cardale 12-gauge Jones, went in there, and Cardale Jones just lit up Alabama's defense in the 2014 college football playoff semifinal. So Rock Righteous Ministry is going, put Austin Mack in, and let's see what this quarterback can do moving forward. So there is my man RRM giving his statement. Hank P. Then we are one-dimensional. Well, that's Hank P. saying what Alabama is right now. Let's see here. Drewski writes in, we're too Milrow-centric. That's the thing. You run Milrow too much. It's too Milrow Ryan Williams-centric. Because you lock on to Ryan Williams. You're doing a whole lot of this and that with Milrow. You don't know what the foundation of this team is. You don't know what the pulse of this team is. Or if this team has a pulse, for crying out loud. Here we go. Let's see here. Jordan Bradley writes in, but that was a Brent Venables defense. Even Ole Miss didn't run away with Oklahoma even hosting OU. Hey, Brent Venables' defense is good. But here's my thing. LSU had dudes that could get after the quarterback, that could create some issues. But Alabama still was able to scheme out LSU, right? What was it, or what is it about Oklahoma that Alabama wasn't able to scheme out? That's my question. First half against Georgia, you're able to scheme out Georgia, right? What is it about Oklahoma that you weren't able to scheme them out? That's a question there for Nick Sheridan. Let's see, GT18. What defensive set we running this week? A 2-4-5 so Thorne could look like a Heisman running back. Man, GT, my hope and prayer is that Alabama gets into a 4-3 look and plays that way the whole game. If not a 4-3 look, I would hope, I would only hope Kane Womack I hope Kane Womack talks to Nick Saban this week. I would only hope that Kane Womack goes to Nick Saban's office and says, Coach, I need help. I need advice. What defense would you run? Would you run the 3-4 against Auburn? Would you run a 4-3 against Auburn? I mean, if I was Kane Womack, I would be going to Nick Saban all week this week and ask him. If I was King and DeBoer, I'd be going to Nick Saban all week asking him something. Saban ain't going to overstep any boundary, but I would just come and ask, Coach, like, you went through adversity, Coach. You went through losing games. You went through tough moments. Coach, how'd you handle it? I would be talking to Coach. I'd be talking to Coach hard, man. I'd be talking to Saban hard, man. Jay the Goat writes here, talk about the drops. Go back to J.D. Long, the drop catches from the receivers and tight ends. Yes, there's some drops. There's some drops. I would agree. There are some drops. And the receivers receivers and tight ends, they've got to help the quarterback. I would agree. There's some drops. But at the same time, Milroe's got to also read these defenses, y'all. If you see a defensive player baiting you into a throw, dropping back, giving you something, and then you got to read this stuff. You got to read this stuff. Yes, the receivers, they got to catch the football, no excuse. Tight ends got to catch the football, no excuse. But Jalen Milroe also has to read the defense he's going up against. It's all of it. It's all of it. Donnie Jackson. Steven, really hopeful Keenan starts next year, plus big names going to the portal. So Donnie Jackson is hoping that Keenan Russell starts next season. The only way that happens, Donnie, is if Keenan comes in here in the spring and just otherworldly blows everybody else out of the way to where you think he's got to start. He's better than everybody we have on the roster. That's the only way I see Keenan Russell starting is if he comes in here in the spring, and he's got immense talent. He's got immense talent. But the only way I see that young man starting, he comes in here in spring ball and just wipes the living floor with everybody and goes, get out the way. I'm the QB. He comes and he goes, look at me. I am the captain now. It's the only way I see Keenan Russell starting this next season. Don Parker, I said this from game one. Alabama has issues, and those issues are fundamental football issues that you either correct or you get beat. OU beat Bama with Vandy's offense and Tennessee's defense. Don, that's exactly what I said. Oklahoma used Vanderbilt's offense and Tennessee's defense and beat Alabama. They pulled Vandy's offensive tape against the Tide, Tennessee's defensive tape against the Tide, implemented it into its own game, and beat Alabama. That's what Oklahoma did. Let's see. My man Big Bill writes in, Ty has as good of an arm as Mac Jones. Ty Simpson can get the ball there. We're just going to see. We're going to see, does the coaching staff give him some reps in this Iron Bowl? But if you go back and you watch that Mercer game, that big throw to Josh Cuevas, Ty can get the ball there. Roll Tide and Rise Up comes in with quit all those sideline to sideline plays, vertical plays. Please stretch the field, man. Stretch the field. Right? When you had McElwain as the offensive coordinator, he stretched the field. When you had King as an offensive coordinator, he stretched the field. When you had the combination of Loxley and Brian Dable, they stretched the field. When you had Steve Sarkisian, he stretched the field. Even as much as we can't stand Bill O'Brien. He stretched the field a little too much at times, especially in the red zone. But OB even stretched the field. Gotta stretch the field, man. Gotta stretch the field. Let's see. Here we go. If y'all want Milroe benched, then bench 57 and 74. Hey, JD, look, hey, 57, Pritchard ain't it. Pritchard's not it. Proctor has struggled all season. You are correct. You are correct. Pritchard and Proctor have both struggled. I don't disagree with you. I agree with you. They've both struggled throughout this season. Deborah Franklin, Alabama, Oklahoma had 2 weeks to prepare. Bama was unprepared. That's the main thing. Oklahoma had 2 weeks to prepare for Alabama, and Bama was not prepared. That is correct. Monica Hubbard, y'all praised Milroe when he ran us all the way to the Final Four. That, Monica, because of the fact that last season, Milroe had moments where he was starting to try to take those steps forward as a passer, right? So when Tommy Rees left, and you bring, and then DeBoer ends up becoming the guy as the head coach. And you saw the offense DeBoer ran at Washington. We were all thinking, okay, if DeBoer can do what he did for Michael Penix in that offense, then he should be able to do this with Jalen Milroe. However, you have the question of how much of this was DeBoer's offense, because Ryan Grubb, who was the OC at Washington, chooses not to follow DeBoer to Alabama. He stays in Seattle. So how badly did Ryan Grubb's decision to not join DeBoer, how much does that hurt? How much did that impact? That's a question we have to have amongst ourselves. Not having Ryan Grubb, how much did that hurt in terms of Kalen DeBoer? Let's see. Rock Righteous Ministry, LOL, I'm thinking if Bama wins Saturday, we jump to 12. Watch. No one wants to see Big Ten teams play for the Natty. Boring. I'm telling you, it starts off, though, guys. Bama got to handle Auburn. Bama handles Auburn, then we see how everything else shakes out. But it starts with Bama handling Auburn. Godfather of the SEC, my guy Whalen. That's what happened Saturday night. Oklahoma loaded the box and forced him to pass to win, and it didn't happen. Whalen mentioning right there, Oklahoma loaded that box, forced Jalen Milroe to pass the ball, forced Jalen Milroe to do something that's not 100% his skill set, his identity as a quarterback. What happened? Alabama did not win that football game. Let's see. J-Dub, we didn't beat everyone. That reality now is at hand, and we need to reset our mindset to rebuild, to the rebuilding stage. It's going to suck, but we are resilient. We are Bama. Roll, Tide, roll. Bama versus Bama is, yeah. So, J-Dub, you are correct. Alabama didn't beat everybody. Yes, there's a reality at hand. Yes, there is a mindset that needs to be reset. And yes, it is going to suck right now because you're trying to figure out who you are as a program. You're trying to figure out what is your identity. What is your foundation? We don't know what the identity of this team is. We don't know what the foundation of this team is. We knew what it was with Coach Saban. But now with Coach DeBoer, it's what is the foundation? With Coach DeBoer, what is the identity? With Coach DeBoer, what do we know we can hang our hat on as Alabama football consumers that Bama is elite at this? Bama is dominant at this. Bama is the best at this. What can you hang your hat on? You got to figure out what that identity is. But Bama Nation, as always, I appreciate all of you being a part of the show today, tonight, here on a Monday. Hottest show on the streets, talking your Bama football news. In my own words, yours truly, Stephen Smith of TDA. Once again, Bama fans, our apologies here at TDA for the call segment, the audio not working the way that it needs to. When we do another call for the next show, which will be Wednesday, we will have that situated. We will have that audio back right. I can assure you of that. But folks, you can download the app, Touchdown Bama Magazine app, stay in the know on your Crimson Tide from the iPhone App Store. If you're rocking Team Apple, Google Play Store. If you got the Android phone, for your audio needs, check us out. iTunes or Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Spreaker, TuneIn Radio, Overcast.fm, or iHeartRadio. We got you covered right there. The good and gracious Lord sees fit. I'll be back on Wednesday, continuing the conversation that is Tide football. Bama Nation, continue to get that subscription to touchdownalabama.com. If you haven't done so, pick you up that subscription to touchdownalabama.com today. Be in the know. You will not be disappointed there. I want to thank all of you that called in, all of you that chatted in the chat line, all of you that donated to the show. You guys make this special. You guys make this what it is. Till next time, folks, I'm your man Stephen M. Smith, and you've been listening to my own words.